Hey, what's up guys? I'm BTC. There is a brand new patch on the Overwatch PTR, and it has some pretty crazy changes. Mercy 2.0, it's pretty much a fundamental redesign of the character, some massive changes and a new ability for D.Va, as well as a ton more other stuff. Now, unfortunately, right now, the PTR is having some problems, you can't log in, but I still want to go through all of these patch notes because there's a lot of really big changes here. So I'm going to go through all of the patch notes right now. Unfortunately, I can't show gameplay from the PTR because they're having some problems right now and the PTR is down. But if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe because as soon as they bring the PTR back up, I will make a video showing off all of these crazy new Mercy and D.Va changes. So subscribe, hit that button so you don't miss any of it. Alright, so first up is the arcade and custom games. There are 3 changes here. They were pretty much made for the Mystery Heroes game mode, but I guess it affects any custom game that has respawn as a random hero enabled. So the first thing is players will no longer get the assemble your team screen at the beginning of the game, so you don't have to sit around and wait. Next is players who purposely kill themselves by basically jumping off the cliff don't get a new hero. You have to get actually killed by the enemy. And then the last thing is you cannot get the same hero twice in a row. Alright, so next up is the hero interface updates. The skull icons that indicate where teammates were killed throughout the map have been replaced with hero portrait icons. That's pretty cool. So rather than just seeing like, oh, you have a dead teammate over there, you now know that dead teammate is Reinhardt. So that's pretty cool. Next is the third-person camera view will now frame the action automatically when spectating or waiting to respawn. Alright, so moving on to the really big stuff, the hero updates. D.Va. Micro missiles, it's a new ability. D.Va fires a barrage of small rockets that detonate on impact, dealing damage in a limited radius around each explosion. These can be fired while D.Va is using any other ability or firing her fusion cannon, so that's her left click. Next is Defense Matrix. Defense Matrix resource meter will now deplete twice as quickly, which basically means you only have 2 seconds and it takes 10 seconds to fully recharge. And lastly, boosters. Fusion cannons can now be fired while flying, so that's your left click again. Developer comments. D.Va's Defense Matrix uptime has proven to be too strong, but simply reducing it without making other changes would make her too weak and far less interesting to play. Instead, we're adding a new ability and giving her the ability to fire while flying. These changes give D.Va a lot of new options while maintaining Defense Matrix's ability to shut down big enemy attacks. So D.Va didn't get a complete redesign, but these changes are a fundamental shift in how you have to play the character. Whereas now on the live server you play much more passive, a lot more defensively, you're constantly using your defense matrix in order to block a massive amount of damage. Now you don't want to do that because now you only have that 2 seconds of defense matrix. That's the same uptime as Zarya's bubble. And I'm sure if you've been playing the game, you know that Zarya's bubble is not enough to really just fully defend your team. So what you need to do now with D.Va is you need to be way more aggressive. You have to get up in the enemy face and you need to do a lot more damage. So D.Va very definitely moved from the tank category and she is now in that unofficial bruiser category where while she can block a small amount of damage, her main goal now is to deal damage. So basically offense is the best defense kind of situation. Now, I haven't been able to test this in-game, again, because the PTR is down, but we'll have to see. I did look at the numbers for this, though, and the amount of damage that the micro missiles does is pretty crazy high. So with these changes, D.Va can use her boosters to dive onto an enemy DPS or an enemy support. While she's boosting towards them, she can hold Defense Matrix to not take any damage. Then she can immediately start firing and launch the missiles at the same time. I mean, she can basically just swoop in, nuke a single character, and then try to swoop out. I mean, this might be pretty crazy. Again, I have to wait and see it in game. Alright, next one. Speaking of big changes, wow. People are really going to be divided about this one. Some people are going to really love it, and some people are going to absolutely hate it. And that is the Mercy changes. Let's just jump right into it. So Resurrect, formerly Mercy's ultimate ability, is now a regular ability. And it targets a single player instead of every player within a radius. And that radius has been reduced to 5 meters. The ability cooldown is now 30 seconds, and Mercy is no longer granted invulnerability while Resurrect is active. That is massive change right there. So what is her new ultimate? It is called Valkyrie. Valkyrie unleashes the full power of Mercy's Valkyrie suit, enhancing her weapons and abilities for 20 seconds. That is an insanely long time. So first is her staff. Mercy's healing and damage boost beams now affect all allies near the targeted teammate. Basically a big AoE wherever that person is. And the staff's effective range has been extended. I'm going to have to check this on the PTR. I hate the fact that Blizzard doesn't include the actual numbers with this stuff. I'm going to have to test it myself and got to wait for the PTR to come up. Next is the Blaster, granted infinite ammo while simultaneously increasing damage and fire rate. Now, if they allow Mercy to build charge during her ultimate, this might actually be good, but I really doubt they're going to, because pretty much all characters in the game cannot build their ultimate while their ultimate is active. Next is Guardian Angel, increased range and movement speed. Resurrect, which again, remember, is the normal ability. Cooldown is instantly reset when Valkyrie is activated and reduced to 10 seconds after the initial cast. So you could burn a Resurrect, ultimate, and then Resurrect immediately again to get 2 people back up. Next is Hover. This one's just kind of crazy. Mercy gains the ability to fly freely at increased move speed. This is not like hovering. This is not jump jets or boosters. You are just flying. Up, down, left, right, forward, back, any direction you want. You can move there. And also you get increased movement speed. Now, next thing is Regeneration, which is her passive. It's no longer interrupted when Mercy takes damage. So you're just going to constantly regenerate during the entire ult. Alright, so let's go into the developer comments. While resurrecting downed allies is a core part of Mercy's gameplay, the way her ultimate functioned was causing a number of problems. It was frustrating to play against, and it incentivized Mercy players to hide away from important battles instead of taking part in them. This version turns Resurrect into a single target ability, and it's still an important part of Mercy's kit, but plays much better for both Mercy players and her enemies. Valkyrie, her new ultimate, gives her the opportunity to make big game-making plays and opens a number of new options for her. This is a pretty insane redesign of the character. This is much more significant, I think, than what they did with Symmetra a little while back, because while they did change Symmetra, she still kind of functioned in a similar way. But with this, Mercy, this is just like a massive, massive change, and I think, again, people are either going to love it or they're going to hate it. Here's the thing, though, and you're not going to hear me say this very often, and I cannot believe I'm actually saying this, but I kind of actually agree a little bit with what Blizzard is saying and trying to do here. Right now, the live version of Mercy does have this weird thing where once she gets her ultimate, what does she do? She just, like, leaves the fight. She runs away and just hides in a corner, and you just wait until a bunch of people die, and then you swoop in and res. That, I mean, I understand, like, you're not participating in the fight, right? It's a very weird way to have the game get played. So with this change, I think for the average player on the competitive ladder, this change, without a doubt, is going to be a nerf. Like, for the average player on the ladder, you can basically consider this a nerf. For the higher skill player, I'm talking diamond and above, and especially in pro level play, this might make Mercy the best healer in the game, because now there's a lot more stuff that the player can actually do. There's a lot more skill involved in the character. For the high skill player, the pro level play, being able to instantly res your main DPS is insanely powerful. Like, I cannot stress that enough. That is going to be just absolutely ridiculous. Basically, instead of having a 6-on-6 fight, you will now have a 7-on-6 fight. Once the PTR comes back up, I'll try it out. Alright, so moving on to the next hero, it's Reinhardt. Barrier field, holding primary fire while your shield is active now allows you to rotate the camera. Developer comments, this change gives Reinhardt more situational awareness when using his shield, allowing him to keep an eye on the battlefield while still protecting his team. This kind of reminds me of the Batman movie when he asked to have his suit redesigned so that he could actually turn his head when he was sitting down. But really, this may not seem like a big change, but this is actually pretty good. This is a pretty cool change for Reinhardt. It does mean that you have a lot more situational awareness. It means that you can now keep a better eye on your teammates, so you're going to be much more able to actually defend them with your barrier shield. Instead of rather hoping that they're staying behind you, you can now keep track of them yourself. So this is it's not like nearly as big as the other changes in the patch, but this is still definitely really cool. Next up is the user interface. They just added an outline opacity option in the custom reticle settings. So basically you can put a little black outline around your crosshair. It just makes it a little bit easier to see. And lastly are all of the bug fixes. It looks like most of them are just kind of cosmetic stuff, really nothing super important. So anyways, guys, those are the patch notes. Mercy 2.0, crazy changes. Once the PTR is back online, I will get you some gameplay footage, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any of it. So what do you guys think about all of these changes? I think it's going to be pretty divided. Either you're going to love it or you're going to hate it. Let me know. Put your feedback down in the comment section below. Also, don't forget to check out my Discord, follow me on Twitter, and subscribe again so you don't miss any of the new content. Thanks for watching. Remember, always blame the controller because it's never your fault. Also, special thanks to all my Patreon supporters for helping to make this all possible. If you'd like to see what kind of cool rewards you can get for supporting the channel, check the links on screen and down below.